My name is Rebecca Owens, 28, estate planning attorney in Boston. My own mother destroyed me with one phone call. April 15th, 2026. Riverside Elementary calls. Ms. Owens, your daughter Chloe has been waiting 3 hours. Your mother says you're a selfish bitch who abandons her own child. Come now or we call police and CPS to declare you an unfit mother. I don't have a daughter. Never heard the name Chloe. I drove to Hartford shaking with rage. What I found in that school office would rip open 5 years of my mother's vicious lies and flip my entire life upside down in the most devastating way. Before we go any further, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening to this while driving, cooking dinner, or lying in bed trying to fall asleep, drop a comment and let me know where you are right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you question everything you know about family. The call came at 4:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was in my Beacon Hill office, 3 files deep into a probate case, when my phone lit up with a Connecticut number I didn't recognize. This is Rebecca Owens. Ms. Owens, this is Principal Patricia Brennan from Riverside Elementary in Hartford. Her voice was tight, controlled. The kind of control that comes right before someone loses it completely. We have a serious situation regarding your daughter Chloe. I set down my pen. I think you have the wrong Rebecca Owens. I don't have children. Long pause. Then, Ms. Owens, we've been trying to reach your mother Diane for over 3 hours. Chloe hasn't been picked up. You're listed as the primary legal guardian on all our forms. If you don't come immediately, we're legally required to contact Child Protective Services and the police. I'm telling you, there's been a mistake. I've never enrolled a child in your school. Ms. Owens, her voice hardened. Your mother has been picking up Chloe every single day for the past 4 years. Today, she didn't come. Today she called here in what I can only describe as an extremely concerning mental state, making allegations about your fitness as a parent. We need you here. Now. My stomach dropped. My mother. Of course my mother was involved. I'll be there in an hour and a half. I grabbed my keys, my laptop bag, and headed for the parking garage. My hands were shaking so hard I had to try twice to unlock my car. An hour and a half from Boston to Hartford. I-90 to I-84. Traffic was mercifully light. I called my mother 8 times on the drive. Every call went straight to voicemail. By the 4th attempt, I stopped leaving messages. She knew I was calling. She was choosing not to answer. My mind raced through possibilities, each worse than the last. Had my mother enrolled some child using my name? Was this identity theft? A scam? But why would she do that? And who was this child? The name Chloe meant nothing to me. I'd never known a Chloe. Never babysat a Chloe. Never sponsored or fostered anyone. I made it to Hartford in 87 minutes. Riverside Elementary was a squat brick building in West Hartford, the kind of school that probably charged $18,000 a year and had a waiting list. I parked in the visitor lot and walked through the front doors at 6:14 p.m. The halls were empty, silent. The kind of silence that happens after all the normal people have gone home. I found the main office. Through the glass door, I could see a woman in her 50s behind a desk, and next to her, a little girl, maybe 5 years old. Blonde curls, purple backpack clutched to her chest, tear-stained face. I pushed the door open. The woman behind the desk stood immediately. Ms. Owens? Yes. I'm Principal Brennan. This is my secretary, Jennifer Cole. She gestured to a younger woman hovering near a filing cabinet. Then she looked at the little girl. And this is Chloe. The child looked up at me. Green eyes, red-rimmed from crying. She studied my face like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Then she whispered, "Are you Mommy Rebecca?" My heart stopped. I looked at Principal Brennan. I don't understand what's happening here. Perhaps we should speak in my office. Brennan gestured toward a side door. Jennifer, stay with Chloe, please. I followed her into a small office crammed with filing cabinets and a desk covered in papers. Brennan closed the door and turned to face me. Ms. Owens, I need you to understand the severity of this situation. We have been unable to reach your mother since approximately 3:30 p.m. Chloe's last class ended at 3:15. It is now after 6 o'clock. A 5-year-old child has been waiting here for nearly 3 hours. I understand that's distressing, I said carefully. But I need you to understand something too. I have never enrolled a child in this school. I have never legally adopted or fostered anyone. I don't know who Chloe is. Brennan's expression shifted. Confusion, then something harder. Ms. Owens, we have 4 years of documentation with your name, your signature, your contact information. Then someone forged those documents, because I didn't sign them. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she opened a filing cabinet and pulled out a thick folder. The label read, Chloe M. Owens, Enrollment 2021 to 2026. She set it on the desk between us and flipped it open. The first page was an emergency contact form, dated September 13th, 2021. Student name, Chloe Marie Owens. Date of birth, March 18th, 2021. Primary guardian, Rebecca Owens. Address, 47, Elmwood Avenue, Cambridge, Massachusetts, 02139. Phone, 617-555-0192. My breath caught. That was my old Cambridge address, the apartment I'd rented from 2020 to 2022, before I moved to Beacon Hill. And that phone number was mine. But the signature at the bottom, the one that was supposed to be mine, was wrong. I leaned closer. The handwriting was close, very close. Someone had studied my signature, but the pressure was different. The loop on the O was too tight. The cross on the W was too low. This isn't my signature, I said. Ms. Owens, look. I pulled out my phone and opened my photos. I scrolled back to September 2021 and found what I was looking for. A selfie I'd taken at a conference. This was September 20th, 2021. Estate planning conference in Seattle. I was in Washington State when these papers were supposedly signed. I showed her the photo. Me, smiling, conference badge visible, holding a drink with the Seattle skyline behind me. Time-stamped September 20th, 2021, 2:34 p.m. Pacific Time. Your enrollment form is dated September 13th, I continued. But even if the dates didn't overlap, this signature is forged. I'm an attorney who works with legal documents every day. I know what my signature looks like. Principal Brennan's face had gone pale. Are you saying someone impersonated you? Yes, and I think I know who. She stared at the emergency contact form, then at me. Your mother. My mother has been picking Chloe up every day for 4 years, you said? Yes. She told us she was the grandmother helping to raise Chloe while you worked in Boston. We had no reason to doubt her. Brennan's hands were shaking slightly now. Ms. Owens, if what you're saying is true, we've been releasing a child to someone who doesn't have legal authority. What did my mother say when she called today? Brennan hesitated. She was agitated, upset. She said you'd been avoiding your responsibilities. That you were... She stopped. That I was what? She used language I won't repeat, but the implication was clear. She wanted us to believe you were a negligent mother. Rage flooded through me, cold and sharp. My mother had done this. Somehow, my mother had forged my signature, enrolled a child I'd never met, and spent 4 years building a lie. But why? I need to see the rest of those documents, I said. Brennan handed me the folder. I flipped through it. Enrollment forms, medical authorizations, field trip permissions. Every single one had a version of my forged signature. And then I found it. A notarized guardianship document dated August 21st, 2021. The document stated that I, Rebecca Owens, had been granted legal guardianship of Chloe Marie Owens, minor child, pursuant to the voluntary relinquishment of parental rights by the biological mother. Notary stamp. Thomas J. Morrison, Connecticut Notary Public. I pulled out my phone again and checked my calendar. August 21st, 2021. I'd been in Seattle from August 19th to August 22nd. Conference hotel reservation, flight records. I could prove I was 3,000 miles away when this document was supposedly signed and notarized. Principal Brennan, I said slowly, I'm going to file a police report tomorrow morning for identity theft and fraud. I'll need copies of all these documents. Of course. She looked stricken. But Ms. Owens, what do we do about Chloe, right now? I looked through the glass door into the main office. Chloe was sitting in a chair, swinging her legs, still clutching that purple backpack. She looked so small, so scared. Has anyone else been authorized to pick her up? Besides my mother and supposedly me? No, just the two of you. And you can't reach my mother? Her phone goes straight to voicemail. I closed my eyes. This child, whoever she really was, had been waiting here for 3 hours. She was 5 years old. She didn't understand what was happening. And if I walked away, Principal Brennan would have to call CPS. I thought of my mother's voice on that phone call, the allegations, the manipulation. My mother had built this trap carefully. She wanted me to take Chloe. Why? I'll take her, I said. For tonight. But tomorrow I'm sorting this out. Brennan's relief was visible. Thank you. I'll prepare a temporary custody receipt for you to sign, with your real signature, for the record. She printed out a form and I signed it. Rebecca Owens. My actual signature. Witnessed by both Brennan and Jennifer Cole. Time-stamped 6:41 p.m. Then I walked back into the main office. Chloe looked up at me. Those green eyes. So familiar somehow, but I couldn't place why. Hi, Chloe, I said gently. I'm Rebecca. I'm going to take you home with me tonight, okay? She stood up slowly. Grandma said you're my mommy, but you live far away and work a lot. She said you're too busy to visit. My throat tightened. We'll talk about that. But right now, let's get you somewhere safe. She reached up and took my hand. Her small fingers wrapped around mine, trusting. Natural. And that's when I noticed it. The backpack. Purple with a worn unicorn patch on the front. Inside the top flap, I could see the edge of a name tag sewn into the fabric. Can I see your backpack for a second? I asked. She handed it to me. I looked at the name tag. Chloe M. Owens. In case of emergency, call Diane Owens. 8605-5501-34. Not my number, just my mother's. If I was supposedly the legal guardian, why wasn't my contact information sewn into this child's jacket? I took a photo of the tag with my phone. Evidence. I didn't know what I was collecting evidence for yet, but every instinct I had was screaming that something was deeply, criminally wrong. Come on, sweetheart, I said. Let's go home. Before I tell you what happened in the car ride back to Boston, I need you to understand something. I work with families every single day. Estate planning means dealing with wills, trusts, guardianship documents. I see the legal framework that holds families together, and the gaps where they fall apart. I know what fraud looks like. I know what desperation looks like. I know what people do when they want to hide something or protect someone or steal something they think they deserve. And I knew as I buckled Chloe into the back seat of my car that my mother had done all three. Like and subscribe if you want to know what I found when I started digging into my mother's lies. And tell me in the comments, have you ever discovered your family wasn't who you thought they were? We had to stop at a Target on the highway because I didn't have a car seat. Chloe needed a booster seat. She was 5, big enough for that. I let her pick one out. She chose purple and pink stars. While I was installing it in the parking lot, she said, "Do you remember my first mommy?" I froze. My hands went still on the seatbelt buckle. "Your first mommy?" Grandma showed me pictures. She had yellow hair like mine. Grandma says first mommy couldn't take care of me, so you adopted me. But you were too busy, so Grandma helps. My mind raced. First mommy. Adoption. Someone with blonde hair like Chloe's. What else did Grandma tell you about your first mommy? That she loved me, but she had to go away. And that you love me too. But you have important work in Boston. Chloe looked down at her shoes. Grandma says when I'm older, maybe I can visit you more. I knelt down to her level. Chloe, when did Grandma show you these pictures? Lots of times. She plays recordings too. First mommy singing to me when I was a baby. Recordings. Not memories. This child was 5 years old. She couldn't remember events from when she was an infant. My mother had constructed these memories through photos and audio. Do you remember her yourself? I asked carefully. Or just from what Grandma showed you? Chloe thought about it. Just the pictures, I think, and the songs. I finished securing the car seat and stood up. My mother had been systematically building a false narrative for this child, making Chloe believe I was her adoptive mother who'd abandoned her, making Chloe believe some mysterious first mommy had given her up. Who was the first mommy? And where was she now? We got back on the highway. Chloe chattered nervously, filling the silence with stories about her kindergarten class. Butterflies, a classmate named Sophie who could do a cartwheel, a teacher named Miss Anderson who was really nice. I let her talk. I needed to think. Around 7:15, I stopped at a rest area so she could use the bathroom. While I waited outside the stall, I examined her jacket more closely. Purple fleece. Good quality but not new. Probably thrift store or hand-me-down. But Chloe herself seemed healthy, clean, well-fed. Her hair was brushed. Her clothes fit properly. My mother had been caring for her physically at least. After Chloe washed her hands, she looked up at me in the mirror. Can I call Grandma? To say goodnight? She always tucks me in. Let's try. I dialed my mother's number on speaker. It rang, and rang, and rang. Voicemail. I tried again. Same result. Chloe's face fell. Is Grandma okay? I'm sure she's just busy, sweetheart. The lie tasted bitter. But I couldn't tell this child the truth, that her grandmother was hiding because she'd been caught in a fraud scheme. We arrived at my apartment in Beacon Hill around 8 p.m. 1 bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom. Clean. Minimal. No toys, no children's books, no extra bed. I ordered pizza. While we waited, I gave Chloe a blanket and pillow and set up a makeshift bed on the couch. This is where you live? Chloe looked around. It's so clean. Grandma's house has lots more stuff. I don't have much space, it's just me here usually. Do I get to stay here now? The question stopped me cold, the hope in her voice, the fear underneath it. For tonight, yes. Tomorrow we're going to figure some things out. After the pizza arrived, we ate on the couch. Chloe's table manners were good. She said please and thank you automatically. She didn't make a mess. My mother had taught her well, at least on the surface. At 8:45, I tucked her into the couch bed. She looked so small under the blanket. Mommy Rebecca, she whispered. I hesitated. Then, yes? Are you going to keep me? Or do I have to go back to Grandma's? My chest ached. Chloe, you're safe here. I'm going to figure out what's going on, okay? But you're not in trouble. None of this is your fault. She reached up and touched my face. You look sad. Grandma says you're sad a lot because your sister died. Is that true? My breath caught. My sister. Katie. Yes, I whispered. My sister? I thought she died a long time ago. That's really sad. I'm sorry. After she fell asleep, I sat at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. My hands were still shaking, but this was what I knew how to do. Research. Evidence. Building a case. I started with the obvious search. Catherine Owens obituary, 2021, California. Nothing. Katie Owens death certificate, California, June 2021. Nothing. My sister Katie had supposedly died in June 2021. Car accident on Highway 1 near Mendocino. That's what my mother told me. I'd flown home. We'd had a memorial service. My mother had handled all the California paperwork. She said Katie's body was too damaged for an open casket. She said it was too painful for me to deal with the details. I'd believed her. I'd been 23 years old, drowning in grief, and I'd trusted my mother to handle it. I'd never verified the death certificate. I worked with death certificates every week in my job, but I'd never checked my own sister's. Grief had made me blind. Trust had made me stupid. Now I typed something different. Catherine Owens, 24 years old, Providence, RI. The search loaded. A LinkedIn profile appeared. Catherine Owens, age 24, lives in Providence, Rhode Island. Barista at Brewed Awakening Coffee. Profile picture, Katie, my sister, alive, posted 18 days ago. I stared at the screen. The room tilted. Katie was alive. For 5 years, I'd mourned her. I'd gone to her memorial service. I'd cried at her empty grave. I'd carried the guilt of our last fight. Me telling her she needed to get her life together. Her screaming that I thought I was better than her. And she'd been in Providence the entire time, 45 minutes from my apartment in Boston. I clicked through to her sparse profile. Barista. Part-time student at Providence Community College. Last activity, 18 days ago. No personal posts, no photos of children, no mention of family. Her privacy settings were tight. But the profile picture was unmistakably her. Older, thinner, sadder, but alive. I searched Facebook, Instagram, all private. But the profile pictures were visible. Katie, current, recent. I grabbed my phone and tried calling my mother again. Straight to voicemail. I whispered to my dark apartment. What did you do, Mom? What the hell did you do? Then I remembered. My mother had said Katie died in June 2021. Chloe's birthday, according to the school enrollment form, was March 18th, 2021. Katie would have been 19 in March 2021. Pregnant. I thought back to the last time I'd seen Katie before she supposedly died. It was March 2021. I'd just started my new job at the law firm. Katie had called me, crying, saying she needed help. I told her I was busy, that I'd call her back. I never did. 2 months later, my mother called to tell me Katie was dead. But Katie hadn't died. She'd given birth. To Chloe. And then my mother had, what? Taken the baby? Told Katie to leave? Faked Katie's death? Forged my signature to create guardianship papers? Why? I pulled up my grandfather's trust documents. I was the executor. I hadn't checked the account closely in years. It was managed by Gordon and Associates Trust Company. But now I logged into the online portal. The trust my grandfather Howard had created when he died in 2018. $1,237,000. The terms were specific. Funds would be distributed to direct descendants through Rebecca Owens's line, or legally adopted child or ward under Rebecca's legal guardianship, established before Rebecca turns 30. I was 28. I had 2 more years before that window closed. But if I'd become the legal guardian of a child before age 30, the trust fund would activate. I clicked on the transaction history. My stomach dropped. September 2021. Withdrawal, $12,500. Guardian expenses, Chloe M. Owens. October 2021. Withdrawal, $10,000. November 2021. Withdrawal, $15,000. The pattern continued. Monthly withdrawals ranging from $8,000 to $15,000 through 2022, through 2023, through 2024, through 2025, through March 2026. Total withdrawn, $683,500. Every withdrawal authorized by Rebecca Owens, legal guardian. I clicked on the supporting documentation, scanned into the system. Guardianship petition dated August 21, 2021. Signature, Rebecca Owens. Notary stamp, Thomas J. Morrison, Connecticut Notary Public. I stared at my screen. Then I Googled Thomas J. Morrison. Real notary, works at a law office in Hartford. I sent him an email at 11:47 p.m. Mr. Morrison, I'm an attorney investigating potential notary fraud. Did you notarize a guardianship document for Rebecca Owens on August 21st, 2021? Please contact me urgently. I hit send. Then I started making a list on a yellow legal pad. Old habit. When I need to think, I write by hand. Evidence needed. Original forged guardianship docs. Trust fund transaction records. Notary fraud proof. Katie's real location sought status. Proof. Katie never consented. Mom's financials. Where did $683,000 go? School enrollment documents. My alibi. Seattle conference. People to contact. Thomas Morrison, notary. Emailed. Katie. Find her in Providence. Trust company. Request full audit. Hartford Police. Identity theft report. Forensic document examiner. Legal strategy. Criminal. Identity theft. Forgery. Embezzlement, fraud. Civil trust fund recovery. Custody for Katie. Protective. Keep Chloe safe during investigation. My phone buzzed. Email notification. 11:53 p.m. Thomas J. Morrison had replied, Ms. Owens, I have no record of notarizing any document for you on that date or any other. If someone used my stamp, that's forgery and notary fraud. I want to help. Call me in the morning. I looked at the couch where Chloe was sleeping. Blonde curls spread on the pillow. Small chest rising and falling. This child was Katie's daughter. I was certain now, which meant my mother hadn't just faked Katie's death. My mother had stolen Katie's child, forged my identity, and had been embezzling from our grandfather's trust fund for nearly 5 years. I whispered to sleeping Chloe, Your mom is alive, sweetheart, and I'm going to find her. I'm going to bring her back to you. I promise. I set my alarm for 6 a.m. I needed to move fast. My mother was out there somewhere, probably panicking now that the school had called me. She knew the scheme was unraveling, which meant she might run, or worse, try to destroy evidence. I added one more item to my list. Find Mom before she destroys everything. Then I tried to sleep. I didn't succeed. Wednesday, April 16th, 6 a.m. I woke to my alarm after maybe 2 hours of sleep. Chloe was still asleep on the couch. I made coffee, then called my law firm and told them I needed emergency personal leave. They didn't ask questions. At 7:30, Chloe woke up. I made her breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast, the only child-appropriate food I could manage with what I had in my apartment. Where's Grandma? She asked. I'm still trying to reach her, sweetheart. Is she mad at me? No, honey. You didn't do anything wrong. But the question broke my heart. This 5-year-old thought she'd done something to make her grandmother disappear. At 8:15, I got the call I'd been dreading. Ms. Owens, this is Michelle Torres, Child Protective Services caseworker with the state of Connecticut. My grip tightened on my phone. Yes? Riverside Elementary filed a mandatory report yesterday regarding concerns about Chloe Owens's care. I need to schedule a home visit within 48 hours to assess the situation. I understand, I said carefully. But there's a complicating factor. I never legally adopted or fostered this child. I believe I'm a victim of identity theft. Silence, then. That's a very serious allegation, Ms. Owens. I know. And I'm filing a police report today. But until we verify what's happened, you should know that the guardianship documents in the school's file are forged. I can prove I was out of state when they were supposedly signed and notarized. I see. Torres's voice was professional but skeptical. Until we verify your claim, you are still listed as legal guardian in all official records. You'll need to maintain care of Chloe. I'm scheduling a home visit for Friday, April 18th, 10 a.m. at your Boston address. Please have all relevant documentation ready. I'll have documentation. I'm also hiring a forensic document examiner. Good. I'll need copies of everything. Ms. Owens, if your identity theft claim is true, we'll work with you. But until then, the child's safety is our priority. She hung up. I looked at Chloe eating her eggs. CPS would investigate me now. I had 48 hours to prove I was telling the truth before a caseworker showed up at my apartment. I needed to move faster. At 9 a.m., I called Thomas J. Morrison, the notary. Mr. Morrison, thank you for responding so quickly. I need to verify something. Did you notarize a guardianship petition for me on August 21st, 2021? No, ma'am. I keep meticulous records. I have nothing with your name on it from any date in 2021. If someone used my notary stamp, that's a crime. I'd like to see the document. I'll send you a copy. Can you verify if the stamp is genuine or forged? Absolutely. Send it over. I hung up and immediately emailed him scans of the guardianship petition. Then I drove to West Hartford, to my mother's house. The address was 118 Oakwood Drive, a 2-story colonial in a quiet neighborhood, white siding, black shutters, flower boxes in the windows, my mother's pride. I parked in the driveway. Her car was there, a silver Toyota Camry. I walked up to the front door and knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Rang the doorbell. Nothing. I tried the handle. Locked. I walked around back. All the curtains were drawn. The house looked shut up tight. Can I help you? I turned. An older woman was standing at the fence between properties. Late 70s, maybe. Wearing gardening gloves. I'm Rebecca Owens, I said. Diana's my mother. I'm trying to reach her. The woman's face softened. Oh, Rebecca, I'm Helen Kowalski. I live next door. Your mother speaks of you often. I bet she does, I thought bitterly. Have you seen her recently, Mrs. Kowalski? Yes, actually. She left yesterday morning with a suitcase. Said she was visiting her sister in Vermont for a few days. Didn't say when she'd be back. My mother didn't have a sister. She was an only child. Did she seem upset? Worried? Mrs. Kowalski hesitated. Now that you mention it, yes? She seemed rushed. I asked if everything was all right, and she said something about needing time away. Then she got in her car and left quite quickly. Thank you, Mrs. Kowalski. I walked back to my car and sat in the driver's seat thinking. Vermont. My mother was hiding. She'd left the day the school called me. She knew I'd find out. She knew I'd come looking. I called the Hartford Police Department. I need to file a report for identity theft, forgery, and fraud. They told me to come to the station. I drove there directly, leaving Chloe with a very confused Mrs. Kowalski, who agreed to watch her for a few hours after I explained there was a family emergency. At the police station, I met with Detective Brian Sullivan. Mid-40s, graying hair, tired eyes, but sharp. He listened to my story without interrupting. I showed him everything: the forged guardianship papers, the school enrollment forms, my alibis, Seattle conference, time-stamped photos, hotel records, the trust fund withdrawals, Thomas Morrison's email confirming he never notarized anything for me. Sullivan's expression grew darker as I talked. "This is sophisticated fraud," he said. "How long has this been going on?" "Nearly 5 years, since September 2021. "And this child, Chloe. Who is she really?" "I believe she's my younger sister's daughter. My mother told me my sister died in June 2021, but I found my sister's LinkedIn profile last night. She's alive, living in Providence, Rhode Island." Sullivan wrote that down. "Have you contacted your sister?" "Not yet. I wanted to file this report first." "Smart." He looked up at me. "Ms. Owens, I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a complex investigation. Identity theft, forgery, embezzlement. These are serious felonies. And if your mother deliberately separated you from your sister with false information about her death, we're looking at possible custodial interference and parental alienation." "What do I do now?" "First, I'll issue a wellness check for your mother. We'll contact Vermont State Police to locate her. Second, you need to maintain custody of the child until we sort this out. CPS will require that. Third, gather every piece of evidence you can. Bank statements, emails, voicemails, text messages, everything. I'm an estate planning attorney. I know how to build a case." He smiled grimly. "Then you know this is going to get worse before it gets better." I left the police station at noon, picked up Chloe from Mrs. Kowalski, who looked deeply concerned but didn't ask questions. In the car, Chloe said, "Is Grandma in trouble?" I chose my words carefully. Grown-ups sometimes make mistakes, and when they do, other grown-ups have to help fix them. "Is it my fault?" "No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong, not one single thing." But her question told me everything I needed to know about how my mother had raised her. Chloe had been taught to feel responsible for adult problems. That night, I did something I should have done 5 years ago. I pulled out the folder my mother had given me after Katie's memorial service. Condolence cards, the memorial program, receipts from the florist, but no death certificate. My mother had never given me a copy, because there wasn't one. I sat on my couch, staring at the memorial program, Katie's photo. Beautiful and young and alive. How many nights had I cried looking at this photo? How many times had I blamed myself for not being there for her, for not taking her call that last time? And she'd been alive the whole time. My mother had orchestrated all of it. The fake death, the funeral, the grief, the theft, the lies. I looked at Chloe sleeping on my couch. Katie's daughter. Tomorrow I would find Katie, and I would give her back her child. Thursday, April 17th. I woke up early and called a private investigator named Daniel Cross. He came highly recommended from a colleague in family law. "I need you to locate someone. Catherine Owens, 24, last known location Providence, Rhode Island." "How fast do you need this?" "Yesterday. I'll have something for you by end of day." At 2 p.m. my phone rang. "Ms. Owens, this is Detective Sullivan. We located your mother. She's at a motel in Burlington, Vermont. Vermont State Police made contact. She's asking for a lawyer." "Good," I said coldly. "She's going to need one." At 4:30 p.m., Daniel Cross called me back. "Found her. Catherine Owens. Lives at 118 Benefit Street, Providence. Works at Brood Awakening Coffee on Federal Hill. I've got photos, employment records, address verification. Sending everything to your email now." My hands shook as I opened the email. Photos of Katie behind a coffee counter, smiling at customers, alive, real, current. I looked at the address. Providence was 45 minutes away. I grabbed my keys. "Chloe, sweetie, we're going for a drive." "Where?" "To meet someone very important." I didn't tell her who. I didn't know how to explain that the first mommy she'd been shown in photos was about to become real. I drove to Providence, found the coffee shop on Federal Hill, brewed awakening, small, hipster, string lights in the windows. I told Chloe to wait in the car, gave her my phone with a game on it, locked the doors. Then I walked into the coffee shop, and there she was, behind the counter, hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing a green apron, older than the photos I'd been staring at for 5 years. But undeniably, unmistakably Katie, my sister, alive. She looked up as I approached the counter. Our eyes met. The coffee cup she was holding slipped from her hands. It shattered on the floor. "No," she whispered. "You're not supposed to be here." My voice broke. "Katie." She backed away from the counter. Her face had gone white. "Mom said you never wanted to see me again. She said if you ever came looking for me, I should—" "Katie, stop. Listen to me. Whatever Mom told you was a lie." Tears were streaming down her face. "She said you hated me, that I was an embarrassment, that you wanted nothing to do with me or my baby." "That's not true." "None of it is true." The manager came out from the back. "Katie, you okay?" Katie couldn't take her eyes off me. Can I take my break?" "Yeah, sure, go." Katie came around the counter. We walked outside. The spring air was cool. Traffic hummed past on the street. "Katie, I thought you were dead." She stared at me. "What?" "Mom told me you died in June 2021. Car accident in California." She showed me. My voice broke. "She had a memorial service. I mourned you. I thought you were gone." Katie's legs seemed to give out. She sat down hard on the curb. "She told me you were alive and just didn't want to see me." "When did you last see Mom?" 5 years ago, right after Chloe was born." Katie's voice was shaking. "I was 19, pregnant, terrified. I came home and Mom said she'd help me. She told me to stay with her for a few months while I figured things out. Then in June we had a huge fight. She said I was ruining my life. She said you agreed with her. She said you told her I was a disappointment and you didn't want me around." "I never said that." "I know that now. But I was 19 and scared, and I believed her." Katie wiped her eyes. "I left. I came to Providence. I got a job. I tried to get my life together. I kept calling Mom asking about Chloe. She said you'd legally adopted her. She showed me papers with my signature on them, saying I'd given up my parental rights." "You never signed those papers." "I know, but I was young and I didn't know better, and Mom said if I tried to fight it, you'd press charges for child abandonment. She said I could go to jail." Katie looked at me. "So I stayed away. I built a life here. I've been in Providence for 5 years thinking my daughter was with you, thinking you hated me, thinking I'd lost everything." I sat down next to her on the curb. "Katie, I never adopted Chloe. I didn't even know she existed until yesterday. Mom forged my signature. She created guardianship documents using my name. She's been raising Chloe and telling her I'm her adoptive mother who's too busy to visit." Katie's face crumpled. "Where is Chloe now?" "She's safe. She's with me. But Katie, she thinks I'm her mother. She thinks you abandoned her." Katie made a sound like something breaking. "Oh God, my baby. I've missed 5 years. She was 2 months old when I left. She's 5 now. She won't even remember me. She remembers photos Mom showed her. Mom's been telling her about a first mommy who loved her but had to leave. I need to see her. Please. I need to see my daughter." "I know. But Katie, there's more. Mom didn't just do this to hurt us. She did it to steal money. Grandpa Howard's trust fund. Do you remember the terms?" Katie frowned. "Something about descendants through your line? The trust activates if I become legal guardian of a child before I turn 30. Mom forged guardianship papers to access the fund. She's withdrawn over $680,000 in the last 5 years, all authorized in my name. Katie stared. She stole Grandpa's money? Using my identity and your daughter as the reason. She used Chloe as a pawn. Katie's voice had gone cold. She stole my baby and used her to commit fraud. Yes. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Katie said, "What do we do?" "We build a case. We document everything. We get Chloe back to you. And we make sure Mom can never do this to anyone again." Katie looked at me. "She told me you wanted nothing to do with me. She told me you were dead. She kept us apart for 5 years. Yes. Because she wanted control. She wanted Chloe. She wanted the money. She wanted—" Katie's voice broke. "She wanted to destroy us." "She failed," I said quietly. "Because we found each other." Katie grabbed my hand, squeezed it hard. "I missed you. I missed my sister." "I missed you too. Can I see Chloe, please?" "Yes. But Katie, we need to be careful. She's confused. She's been taught that I'm her mother. We can't just spring the truth on her all at once." "I know. I just need to see her, even if she doesn't know who I am yet." We walked to my car. I opened the back door. Chloe looked up from the phone, saw me, then saw the woman standing next to me. "Chloe, this is my friend Katie," I said gently. "She wanted to say hello." Katie's face was wet with tears. She knelt down next to the car door. "Hi, Chloe." Chloe studied her. "Do I know you?" I knew you when you were very little." Chloe tilted her head. "You have yellow hair like me." "I do." "And green eyes." "Yes." Chloe reached out and touched Katie's face. "You look like the pictures." Katie's breath caught. "What pictures, sweetheart?" "The pictures Grandma showed me. Of my first mommy." Katie looked at me. I nodded. Katie looked back at Chloe. "Would you like to get ice cream with me and Aunt Rebecca?" "Aunt Rebecca?" Chloe looked confused. "It's a long story," I said. "But yes, ice cream sounds good." We went to a small ice cream shop nearby. Chloe got strawberry. Katie and I got coffee. Katie couldn't take her eyes off Chloe. She watched every movement, every smile, memorizing her daughter after 5 years apart. Chloe chattered about school and butterflies, and Miss Anderson and Sophie's cartwheel. Normal 5-year-old conversation, but Katie was crying silently the whole time. After ice cream, I drove Katie back to her apartment. Chloe fell asleep in the car. "We need to move fast," I said. "I've already filed a police report. Detective Brian Sullivan, Hartford PD. He's located Mom in Vermont. CPS is investigating me. They think I'm the guardian. But I have a home visit Friday morning. I need to prove the forgery by then." "What do you need from me?" "Evidence. Anything you have from 2021. Text messages, voicemails, bank records proving you were here in Providence. Proof you never signed adoption papers. I have everything. I saved it all because I thought someday I'd fight to get her back." "Good. Send it to me tonight. I'll forward it to Detective Sullivan." Katie grabbed my arm. "Rebecca, what's going to happen to Mom?" "She's going to be charged with identity theft, forgery, embezzlement, fraud, and probably custodial interference. She's looking at serious prison time." "And Chloe?" "Custody will go to you. We'll get an emergency order. The forged adoption papers will be voided." "But Katie, this is going to be hard. Chloe has been taught a false narrative for 5 years. She thinks I'm her mother. Deprogramming that is going to take time." "I have time. I have the rest of my life to make this up to her. I'll help you. Whatever you need." Katie hugged me, hard. "Thank you for finding me. Thank you for not believing her. I should have looked 5 years ago. I should have verified the death certificate. I'm an estate attorney. I work with them every day, and I never thought to check." "You trusted her. We both did. That's what she counted on. Friday through Sunday was a blur. Friday morning, CPS caseworker Michelle Torres showed up at my apartment at 10 a.m. sharp. I showed her everything: the forged documents, my alibi, Thomas Morrison's confirmation that he never notarized anything for me, Detective Sullivan's case number, Katie's proof she'd been in Providence. Torres was thorough but fair. This is clearly fraud, Ms. Owens. I'm recommending to the court that custody be transferred to the biological mother, Catherine Owens. In the meantime, you'll maintain temporary care until we sort this out. Thank you. Saturday, Katie and I met with a family law attorney named Patricia Chen. She was sharp, efficient, and appalled by the scope of my mother's crimes. Emergency custody petition filed Monday morning, Chen said. We'll get Chloe to Katie within a week. The forged adoption documents will be invalidated, and I'll be filing civil claims against Diane for the trust fund. Sunday, I sat down with Katie and Chloe. Chloe, honey, there's something we need to talk to you about. She looked between us. What? Katie took a breath. Sweetheart, I'm not just Aunt Rebecca's friend, I'm your mommy. Your real mommy. Chloe frowned. But Mommy Rebecca is my mommy. No, baby, I'm your Aunt Rebecca. Katie is your mommy. You lived with her when you were very little, before things got complicated. I don't understand. Katie pulled out her phone, showed Chloe photos. This is you when you were born. See, I'm holding you. And this is you at 2 months old. And this is your nursery. Chloe stared at the photos. That's me? Yes. Why did you leave? I didn't leave, sweetheart. Grandma told me I had to. And Grandma told me you were with Aunt Rebecca and happy. I thought you were safe. I didn't know Grandma was telling you I'd left you. Tears welled up in Chloe's eyes. Grandma lied? Yes, baby. Grandma lied to all of us. Why? That was the question I couldn't answer. Why does a mother destroy her own daughters? Why does a grandmother use a child as a pawn? Sometimes grown-ups make very bad choices, I said. Grandma made a lot of bad choices, but the most important thing you need to know is, none of this is your fault. You did nothing wrong. Katie, your mommy, loves you very much, and she's been trying to get back to you this whole time. Chloe looked at Katie. Do you really love me? More than anything in the world. Can I come live with you? Katie's face crumpled. Yes, baby, yes. If you want to. We'll have to get a bigger apartment, and you'll have to start a new school. But yes, I want that more than anything. Chloe was silent for a long time, then. Will Aunt Rebecca come visit? I smiled through tears. Every single weekend, I promise. Tuesday, April 22nd. Detective Sullivan called me at 6:18 a.m. Ms. Owens, we have your mother in custody. She's being transported back to Connecticut. She's asking for a lawyer. Good. She's going to need one. Wednesday, April 23rd. I got the call I'd been waiting for. Ms. Owens, this is Public Defender Nancy Hartwell. I'm representing Diane Owens. My client would like to speak with you and your sister, with Detective Sullivan present. I'll be there. The interview room at Hartford PD was small and gray and smelled like old coffee. Katie and I sat on one side of the table. Diane sat on the other, Nancy Hartwell next to her. Detective Sullivan stood by the door. I hadn't seen my mother in person since the memorial service for Katie, 5 years ago. She looked older, grayer, tired. But when she saw Katie, her eyes went wide. You two were never supposed to find each other. Katie's voice was cold. Is that your opening? Really? Katie, you have to understand. No, you're going to listen. You took my daughter from me. You told me Rebecca hated me. You told me I'd go to jail if I tried to get Chloe back. You showed me forged adoption papers with my signature. You kept me away from my own child for 5 years. I added. You told me Katie was dead. You had a memorial service. You showed me a fake death certificate. You made me mourn my own sister while she was alive 45 minutes away. I did what I had to do. No, I said sharply. You did what you wanted to do. You forged my signature. You stole over $680,000 from Grandpa's trust fund. You used a 5-year-old child as a pawn in a fraud scheme. Diane's lawyer put a hand on her arm. Mrs. Owens, I advise you not to. But Diane was past listening. That money was for family. Howard left it for his descendants. Chloe is his descendant. But you didn't use it for Chloe, did you? I pulled out bank statements Detective Sullivan had obtained. You used it for yourself. Home renovation, $180,000. New Lexus, $95,000. Vacations, $120,000. Designer purchases, $85,000. The rest on personal expenses. I slid the papers across the table. You stole from your own granddaughter. Diane's facade cracked. I wanted a perfect family. After your father left, after Katie got pregnant so young, after you were always too busy with your career to visit, I just wanted Chloe. She needed me. She was happy with me. She was never yours to keep, Katie said. I gave her a good home. You stole her from her mother and lied to her about who she was. I was protecting her from your mistakes. Katie stood up, leaned across the table. My mistake was trusting you. That's the only mistake I made. Detective Sullivan stepped forward. Mrs. Owens, I'm formally arresting you for identity theft, forgery in the first degree, larceny in the first degree, criminal impersonation, and custodial interference. You have the right to remain silent. As he read her rights, Diane looked at Katie and me. I did this for you. For our family. I met her eyes. No, Mom. You did this to us. The click of handcuffs echoed in the small room. As they led her away, she looked back one more time. I just wanted to keep her safe. Safe from what? I asked. But she didn't answer. Maybe she didn't have an answer. Maybe she'd been lying for so long that she'd started to believe her own story. Nancy Hartwell advised Diane to take a plea deal. Facing trial meant risking 15 to 25 years. The deal was 8 years in prison, 5 years probation, full restitution of $683,500 to the trust fund, and a permanent restraining order from Katie and Chloe. Diane took the deal. May 2026. Katie got emergency custody of Chloe. The forged adoption documents were invalidated. The trust fund was frozen pending full restitution. I helped Katie find a 2-bedroom apartment in Cambridge, Massachusetts, walking distance from my place, close to a good elementary school. Katie enrolled Chloe in kindergarten there. Chloe made new friends, slowly. The transition was hard. Chloe had nightmares. She asked about Grandma. She asked why people had lied to her. She asked if Katie would leave again. Katie never wavered. I'm here now. I'm never leaving you. Never. They started therapy, both together and individually, working through 5 years of manipulation and lies. I visited every weekend. Sometimes we went to the park. Sometimes we just had dinner.